Hi guys. So today I want to talk about groups and the dynamics of the groups at the table. I've only played in 3 groups, but there's been variety within each, players coming in and out. And I know there's a big difference in style at each table, whether you're running it or playing at it. Depending who's there, it can be a very, very different game. And that's certainly something I found. I think it's fair to say that the group makes or breaks the game. I truly believe that D&D and probably most tabletop RPGs are as fun as you make them. And it's really the personalities with you and the people around you that are going to decide whether or not you have fun. Obviously, you're somewhat responsible for your own fun as well, but it has to be said that if you play with the wrong group, doesn't mean they're bad at the game, but they might just not gel with you. It can really affect your fun, your experience, and I think it's important to acknowledge something that's very important to get used to is that different groups are going to have different styles. It took me a while to know that different players are going to expect different things at the table. Some people are there to kill monsters, get loot, level up. Others are there for the mystery and the intrigue and the role-playing. And some are standers-by, essentially. I think they're there because they want to socialise and they want to have a good time, but asking them to actively engage can seem a bit much. And you don't want to put anyone off. It's not like they're playing the game wrong. They're just probably not going to be the most actively involved. With all this in mind, I think it's very important to run the game for the players at the table. So obviously you're entitled to create whatever world and game you want, but if you're with a group that likes to kill, if it's a hack and slash group, if you want to go raid the dungeon, kill the monsters, get the loot, then you really probably don't want to write them a thriller mystery. But at the same time, I think it's still important that even with these types of players, they might not say they actively want the story, but if they just fight with no stakes, nothing on the line, nothing to be gained bar just numbers on a sheet, I think it can fall flat and I think it can grow tiresome. So even with these players, I will always try and give them a reason to care. It just means that that caring involves a lot of combat. Other players are really interested in their own story, and it's very, very important to work that in. Not always, give everyone their time to shine, but I think that if somebody's spent the time to really engage with your world and write a backstory, you owe it to them to at least try and make that worthwhile. And I think that these players tend to be the most engaged and switched on. So, I mean, that might be a bit unfair to say, but for me as someone who's running it, it seems to me that players that are truly invested are going to get more out of the game. In the end, a lot of this comes down to common sense. It doesn't really matter who you're playing with, so long as you just remember that it's about having fun in the end. And even people that love a hack and slash or love to RP, they will have fun regardless if you put the effort in and if you can try to accommodate them. The barbarian in our group lives up to his name, wants to go out and just kill stuff, but will happily engage with the other party members when they're in some kind of civil dispute. You can't always satisfy everyone, but you can give everyone a piece of what they like. I'm still learning how to balance this, of course. As I've said before, I am new to this and it takes time, but it's become very obvious to me that you need to bear in mind what everyone enjoys. You need to give everyone a time to shine. If somebody's built an amazing combat class, you need to give them the chance to get out there and impress people with that skill. If somebody's really engaged with the political scene, you need to let them become immersed in that and reward them for it. Don't just treat that as a side piece. They need to have as much reward for that as a player gets for killing a dragon. In the end, it just comes down to having fun, knowing who you're playing with and making sure that they can have the best time possible.